these are Teshuvos of Reb Shlomo Zalman Auerbach about Ma'aser Kesafim and Tzedakah. So we're going to start from the top. Sheila Gimel. Third question. Im erech haschora alai de inflatia. If you're selling things and now you're charging more because of inflation, right? It's worth more. So because money went down in value. Do you have to give ma'aser because now your object is worth more? So the answer is no. Mistaber shelo. Makes sense that you don't. The fact that it went up in your possession after on account of inflation, it doesn't make you required to give more ma'aser because when you got it for the price at the time, and that price at the time was what the going price was. So therefore, you go by that. You don't go by the inflated price or the price now that money has changed its value. So it says in Israel, it's a big question back when they had lirot. They had first lirot and then shkalim, and now we're on shkalim chadashim. So there was hyperinflation, right? So something which was worth $5 yesterday, right, is worth $50 today. So they have to give ma'aser on the $45. It just went up in value, right? So the answer is no. You don't have to.
It didn't really go up in value. It went up in dollars, but dollars are worth less. So it's
that's his point. In other words, even though it went up in dollar value, because it's not going up in absolute terms, therefore it's not. They don't have to give ma'aser on the, so to speak, additional wealth which you just accumulated.
But let's say the dollar stays up, but something became more valuable. I don't know. And they got property. Right. Almost like an artist, again, like the famous child, like someone has two stamps and one gets destroyed, so the other one's now worth more, something like that. You have to give ma'aser on that. And it's not inflation.
At the pashtus, that would be the same thing. As long as you're in an investment, no, it's not the same thing. It's like this. As long as you have investment, you don't have to give ma'aser. You only give ma'aser when you get rid of the investment. So now, the same thing with here, it's a bigger chiddush because here bought the merchandise at a lower price, right? You're selling it at a higher price.
So if I put $100 in a fund, right, and I take it out at the end of the 2 years, I take out $120. I'm only giving ma'aser on the $20, right? Because the $100 was just
assuming you already gave ma'aser on the 100, yeah.
Right. Put it. So then, let's say again inflation. So that $100 really worth 110, right? That initial 100. So I can buy the whole 20 or just
no, just the 10.
So you have to figure out what the inflation rate is and when you put it in.
Exactly right, which is very difficult. But back in Israel, when it went up, like 10% a day, so then I think they were able. Nobody got paid anymore based on the shekel. They all got paid based on the dollar, so they all knew what exactly was worth. I'm saying along those lines.
What if you have two investments? You had one investment the same $100 from both. One went up $20, one went down $20. Could you do a wash?
Yeah. Goes by your balance sheet, not by the individual investments. Right? Dalet. How do you give ma'aser on something which you were given, like a diamond or a sefer, which you were given as salary or as a gift? Tshuva ein tzarich lavos me'acherim, o limkor as a chayvetz k'yitein as a ma'aser, some word missing here, but he says you don't have to borrow money or sell an object in order to give ma'aser. Only if you sell it. Right? Only if you are going to sell the diamond or the which you just got, or whether you guys give it, whether you get a salary, and then you're going to make money off it. Then you give ma'aser off the proceeds, but not of the value of the object. So if you bought something, again, investment, right, and went up in value, as long as you're holding on to it, you don't give ma'aser on it. It's only if you actually sell it and realize a gain, then you give ma'aser on it. But if he has, Reb Shlomo Zalman evidently held, it's not clear to me, but if you have money which corresponds to the diamond, and I don't know how this works, what exactly it would mean, But it seems I assume means that you can afford to give Meiser on the diamond because you have a lot of cash. So therefore, you should give Meiser on the diamond. Okay.
So you don't give Meiser on gift stuff. They're only on.
Yeah. So the thing is, you're only supposed to give Meiser gifts when you sell them. That's what I think he's saying
If
before.
you have money, you can give
He's saying right here. That's what I don't understand. Why he's saying that you have to give it immediately.
So what if you would never bought a diamond? Like it's a nice gift, but for example, let's say the diamond's worth $5,000. So why should it be $500? But we're in the market. You wouldn't have even spent $500 on a diamond. You're not in the market for a diamond.
Yeah, but when
you
you
got it again, great.
Right. So as long as you have it, I don't understand what it's saying here. It doesn't seem to make sense to me. What makes sense to me is that if you sell it and it turns out then you're making a profit on it, that's when you do it, but give them Meiser.
If you have
But like you got a diamond ring for your wife, right? And the appraisal was double the amount you actually paid. Don't give Meiser on that. So
you have the insurance claim.
That's insurance.
But if one day down the road you were to sell that ring,
Right.
For say the appraised value was more than what you purchased, so then the difference.
Right. Then you give her the appraised card. Okay. Hey. Must I have precious Meiser socher? When does the obligation of setting aside Meiser devolve on a merchant? Kasher sholeches a cheshbon, when he sends the bill, or kasher mekabel sakesel Meiser, when he receives the money in practice. Tshuva lachashim mekabel sakesef, after he gets the money. Now nowadays, I'm not sure exactly how it works with like credit cards. If you billed with a credit card and he paid you with a credit card, I assume that's called getting the money, because everything nowadays is electronic. Once upon a time, you would convert your credit card receipts into cash, right? But I don't think anybody does that anymore.
How long does it take for the credit card company to send the money to your bank?
It's probably immediate.
Yeah.
But it used to be when they used to do it on paper,
Zell's immediate.
Zell's immediate, but if you go to credit card
Processing 2-3 days.
2-3 days. Okay, so then you have to you'd have to have your Meiser after those 2-3 days. Although you actually don't, it doesn't mean you have to give the Meiser then, because you only have to give Meiser really once a year. So therefore, what it means is that that's when the obligation takes effect. Okay, Avav, Haim chayvim laser revachim shekibel be'isur kagon ribis. If you got illegal gains, right? Do you have to take the Meiser of that? So he says, Tshuva ribis l'raisa chayav lachzir. You're supposed to give it back if you took interest. If you can't give back for some reason, yes, even on your ill-gotten gains, if you're a gangster, you have to give Meiser on the money you got from your illicit activities.
Was that like?
What's
I don't know
that
where it is.
The
But
IRS
it's
does the same thing.
It's
They have
not
a
even
line
about
for,
Mr. Bella there. It's just like it's wrong.
It is.
Why would you think for 1 second that like it's like the guy who comes up with an excuse. So now, as I said, I'm gonna steal money. Why I'm stealing money? Because I'm gonna be like a Robin Hood. I'm gonna give it to the poor. So then he's gonna like the first time might be like, oh, I'm doing something bad, but after a while, like, wait a minute, I'm doing something good now. I'm giving 10% of my share. Right? You're making money on it because you're stealing. Okay, but I'm doing a mitzvah.
I just saw it in some publication. I don't remember where I saw it. Should have known in my memory that they had a shiloh. Said, unfortunately, many Jews now are involved in Ponzi schemes. So, you're allowed to report the Jews involved in Ponzi scheme to the authorities or not. So, evidently, I don't remember what I saw, what the psak was, but evidently, there are a lot of Jews involved in Ponzi schemes. And
The answer should be that you should be able to tell.
what?
The answer should be that you should be able to.
Yes, you should be able to tell because
If a
other
person
brothers,
does something wrong, it doesn't matter if you're Jewish or not Jewish.
right, especially because other Jews can suffer.
Ponzi scheme, and you know it's a Ponzi scheme.
Right?
If you're investing in a Ponzi scheme, and you know it's a Ponzi scheme, you're asking for trouble.
Right, that's true. But amen.
The guy who's starting the Ponzi scheme knows it.
You know, but the people who are investing in it.
Made up. He knew he was doing something wrong.
So, but he was required to give Meiser. What was he doing? Shnei Ches. Haim Mokum Shul Shal. Haim Mokum Shal Kes Meiser. After I say Schor or Avoda, can you give merchandise or work in lieu of cash for Meiser? Tshuva Kain. Yes, it's part. You're allowed to. Schor Lefi Mash Shilem. What?
What does that mean?
Do something for free for someone.
Yeah, or I give a shul a gold watch instead of giving them money. Can I do that?
And use that, say like.
That's my Meiser money.
Let's say I made $100 this week, so I give $10 worth of my service with $10 worth of.
Yeah.
Make $10 an hour, you work for an hour for the shul.
Right.
You send your cleaning lady over and you pay her, right?
Yeah, so he says,
Or if you do cleaning yourself.
Schora lefi masha shilem, who add owed 9/10 mimashi yachol arviach ba. So it goes according to that which you paid, and another 9/10 of what you could profit from it. Obviously, 1/10 has to count as the meiser. So it's the value of what you paid plus the value of 9/10 of the value of what you would sell it for. Okay, that's with giving an object for meiser. In terms of giving work, you get the 9/10 of what you normally would be paid for this work. So let's say a plumber, right, had to do work for a shul, and he normally charges $250, and he does it for free for the shul. So up to 90% of $250, whatever that is, he can count as meiser money. Okay?
What if he charges half? Do you charge the difference? Like,
Yeah.
right?
Whatever he's discounting, he can take 90% of that, charge that off his meiser.
Why is it
But if
90%?
you-
Why is that?
Because-
Because it's 10% off of what.
Comes like it's Meiser anyway.
It's just taking off the Meiser of what would have been his profits. If you would have paid him $100, he would have still had to pay $10 Meiser off that. So you're only able to take off 90.
Oh, okay. That makes
I mean,
sense.
if this plumber is an expensive plumber, the other plumber's at 200 for this job, he charges 300. Where do you count the Meiser?
His rate.
He's the one doing myself.
Yeah.
You hire
If you have a lawyer, your lawyer does pro bono work for the shul, right? He says some lawyers charge $300 an hour, some lawyers charge $1,000 an hour, according to whatever his rate is.
Does he have to have in mind that he's doing it for this purpose?
Um,
Like, what happens if what happens?
I think it's automatic. In other words, if you know you're doing pro bono work for the shul, that means you're doing chesed.
Why? No, meaning like this. Let's say the guy who installed the air conditioning, right? He
Yeah.
had no intentions to do it for mine. So he did it because he's a nice guy.
He doesn't have to
No
know.
comments or whatever. He did it because he's a nice guy.
You get
And then like someone comes and, hey, by the way, membership. What do you mean? I installed the air conditioning.
I don't know.
But we
That's a
said-
separate issue. You
No,
can't.
he said Meiser. You could use it for Meiser.
Yeah, I'm saying, but the shul's not going to let him get away with that.
Right.
Whether the shul is it or not, I'm saying it like in terms of Meiser.
Yes.
You say that I
So
used
I'm
it
saying
as
for
Meiser.
Meiser, yes. You can say you use Meiser. Yes.
So therefore, he can say that I installed air conditioning.
Yeah, but as Shul says, but
Everyone's gonna be mad.
that's your cheshbon. That's your cheshbon with God. Your cheshbon with us is a different cheshbon. That's what they'll say. Very simple, right?
No, stop. I'm just curious. Like,
What?
you said. No, that's all. I'm just curious.
Yeah.
You're saying like the Meiser you can. Like even he had no intention whatsoever to say like I'm using Meiser money.
Since he's doing something for the shul for free, says
That is that is
right.
Meiser money.
Yes. Shayla test. This is a very complicated thing. I think we're going to finish this week of this page. I don't think we're going to. Ezotzos, we have Seidim Mutanakos. What expenses and what losses can you take off your Meiser Cheshbon? Tshuva, Mutanakos Kol Seidim. You can take off all your losses. I feel Hefseid Asik Echad. This is what you asked for. Even the loss on one business, Mi Rivcha Asik Hashem, you can take off the gains of the other business. B'shana achas, as long as it's one the same year. I skipped Sheila Zayin. I just realized Sheila Zayin says you're supposed to take once a year, make this determination. So whenever that once a year is, so it has to go from that year's losses. You can take off any of your gains, but it shouldn't go from year to year. Mutan hakos hotzos, so that you can take off expenses avur niyar for paper, telephone, bulim stamps, schar dira, and rent shalom misrad of your office. Even depreciation of your value of furniture. Or if you use your car for your job, depreciation of the car, right? It's also considered to be loss. Chashmal, electricity, tamula, advertising, necessary trips, and also your lodging when you're on a business trip. But now he says, you have to make reckoning. Kama esho lo yoser masha benkach motzi babais. In other words, you have to see if I'm would have paid money on my house anyway, so I can't, that money I would have paid to stay in my house.
Assuming no one's home when you're traveling.
What?
It's assuming no one's home when you're traveling.
Yeah.
You could give up, and you could
Right.
give up, not pay
Because
that night
right,
anymore.
good point, yes, yeah. The seal shame mechreches, ones which are not, travel which is not necessary, el rak tanuk, only for pleasure, and lakos, so you can't take on vacation, el rak himunoseh betikva she'arviach, unless you have a hope that you'll gain something, or as part of your work.
You should have asked. What do you mean? We need a vacation.
Yeah, Reb Shlomo Zalman's not going with that.
Why not?
What you should say is that,
You work better. You have a break.
no, so I'll tell you.
On a business trip.
You say as you're doing it for your wife and kids, and that's what it's the that's that you can take off.
So you
I
just
feel
need
like
to
the IRS learned this. No?
Yeah, could be. Big
They're everywhere.
the avoda work clothes. Yesh nakos you can deduct. Menachem masach nasoi take off income tax. V'chein malveh klita. So too, this is like a loan you had to give to the Israeli government once upon a time for them to absorb new immigrants. Or milveh b'dachon, a loan you have to give to the Israeli government for security. Chashem machzim el lo, say when they give it back to you, mafrishim and ma'aser, then you take ma'aser off of them. Bituach lumi, if you have to pay Social Security, yochel nakos you can take off. Imachok mechayev, so if the law obligates you to. V'yaseh kabel meituch, if you get Social Security back, then you should take ma'aser off of that. Ava bituach chaim, but insurance, life insurance, shasad adam miratzon atov, which you did out of your own, was voluntary, chayev ma'aser. That you have to give ma'aser on the money which you gave to life insurance. Tuach neged eish, if you have insurance against fire, tunos, accidents, refuah, health insurance, yochol nakos. That's important. Health insurance is a deductible from Ma'aser Kesafim. Okay, mas knios. What about the sales tax? No, sales tax it's part of the price, so you can't deduct for sales tax. Mas iriyah, city taxes. Mas karka, real estate taxes. Varnona is another fee for the taxes. But bayishu garbo, in a house in which he lives, chayibim ma'aser. They're not deductible. Because you get services for them. So therefore, now, that's a good question. Now, obviously, we pay much more than the services we get. So, but in theory, he's saying that since you pay your local taxes to get services, so therefore, you can't deduct from because it's not an expense. It's something which you're spending. But bias rake or migrash rake, if you have a house which is empty, or a property which is empty, then you're not getting services. So the tax is a loss, and you can deduct it. You only have a ma'aser when you have money to sustain yourself. But he says, not according to the standard you're accustomed to. As long as you have enough money to support yourself with stale bread and bad water, so then the rest of it you have to give ma'aser on. But you only if you need it for a minimal degree of living, then you don't give ma'aser on it. If you get more in the manner that you don't take tzedakah from others, chayiv la'aser hakol. You have to take a ma'aser of everything. Says it's a suffix in certain poskim, but he says you have to take a ma'aser of everything. But that's an important thing. If a person can't survive without tzedakah, so then they don't have to get ma'aser kesafim because they're not in a situation.
They should not.
They don't have to. Whether they should not is a separate thing, but they don't have to.
If you're accepting tzedakah, then you don't have
If you need to accept tzedakah, yeah.
I remember someone saying that if you get like financial aid from yeshiva, that's considered like that's considered like you're in a state where you should not like that's your ma'aser. Something like that.
No, it means if you're not getting financial aid, then you consider the extra amount which above minimum tuition to be ma'aser.
Say again?
If you're not getting financial aid, you're paying full tuition, And everybody knows full tuition is not for your kid alone. It's for the kids who can't pay tuition. So whatever's not corresponding to your kid's actual tuition would be Meiser money. I don't know how you figure that out.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing right now.
Yeah. There is, I assume...
Go to school, you say, how many kids are in the school, what's your actual operating expense?
I assume there's some way, I assume there's some way to figure it out. Course the Miktzah Bishtamus. If you're taking a course in order to learn a trade or for enrichment, during this year you can take it off, but you can't go back and say, oh, I took a course in college 15 years ago, and I paid for it, I'm going to take it off my Meiser today. Even a clerk who's learning medicine several hours every day in order to make more money, he can take off the expenses of learning, such as the tuition, sparim, books, machshim, machines, nasios, travel, chule. B'keshel avos, in terms of loans, talui mataras avos has to do with what the purpose of the loan is. In mitzarcha esek, if it's the purpose of business, kol tashlumim, all the payments, kol ribis ubulim, including interest and the stamps to send the payments, b'turim. The example. But if it's an optional loan which you took in order to buy new furniture, then that's not an expense you can deduct from Ma'aser Kesafim.
What about student loans?
So student loans would be part of this. Yeah, that would be part of the educational cost. Okay, let's just try to finish this top page. So Shimush Ma'aser using the part of tax which goes to allowable purposes. Any taxes you pay, part of it goes to tzedakah purposes. Could go inside like welfare, brius, health, chinuch, education, bitachon, security, v'chulei. Can you pay these taxes out of your Ma'aser money? Even though you have to pay them, maybe pay them out of the Ma'aser money. Tshuva. So he says a very interesting thing, which I don't know if it's true in place like Muncie. In Israel, where most people who benefit from the taxes are Jews. You're allowed to pay Ma'aser from that part. You have to use Ma'aser money to pay that part of the tax which goes to those purposes, which would be tzedakah purposes. So let's say you're paying in Israel a certain amount of money towards Social Security, right? So you could pay that out of your Ma'aser money because that goes to support Jews. It's a form of tzedakah. He says you can't take it. It's not a deductible expense or for your income because you have to pay it. But you can use Ma'aser money for that purpose. But he says though, he can't deduct it before he reckons how much the Ma'aser has to give, but he can pay with Ma'aser money. He says on Chutz La'aretz. Now that's a little bit of a strange thing because we have a principle that mefarnesim aniyei akum im aniyei Yisrael. We sustain non-Jews who are poor with the Jews as well. But even that's true in a place like Muncie, where most of the people are Jewish. So then, if the local taxes are benefiting Jews, and I don't know how you reckon that.
I could be wrong, but I think that's part of the heter for Jewish firefighters, maybe? Like, could be that it's a Jewish person.
Yeah, but that's not going to work for him. It has to be, the majority of the people have to be Jewish.
It's not like the money given from Muncie goes to Muncie people. The whole New York State and the whole government funding Muncie.
Yeah, so one big pot.
From that pot.
Okay.
Is that true still for like school taxes?
Well, school tax won't hold on. You have to do school. You have a welfare, food stamp, money like that. Money goes to food stamp.
But that was state tax.
Right, it goes to state.
As opposed to local taxes, that's what I'm getting at.
Now, the next one, which we'll finish today, can you give to a fund that from which Goyim and Rishoyim get money? with religious Jews get an equal amount. Base in datim u'maaser neni mikol haschum, if Jews can get benefit from the entire amount, you give to the cancer fund. It's good questions, right? So you give to let's say Federation. Federation, the money goes also to wicked people, and it goes also to non-Jews. Is that okay? And or you give to the March of Dimes, whatever, where everybody gets benefit. Also Jews. So he says, Tshuva al mistaber she'ba'aretz came. He says in Eretz Yisrael, yes, and then he says what we just said before, v'afilu b'chutz la'aretz mishum darkei shalom. You can give that fund. So he distinguishes between giving to the government and giving to a fund. He says if the government's going to spend most of its money on non-Jews, they can't count that as Ma'aser money. But if you're giving to a fund, which is going to spend money on non-Jews, that's different. Because it's considered to be giving for a charitable purpose. It's a big chiddush, that this distinction. And then he's...
to be used as a deductible?
No. You could spend your Ma'aser money on that. In other words, if you gave money to the Federation or the March of Dimes, that counts as Ma'aser money. It's not deducted from the expenses. He says that the giving to the charitable fund for cancer, whatever, that's permitted everywhere. Or it's no matter what. But on the top of the right, he says, it's important to add, it's a mitzvah to give to these funds, but it's not pure tzedakah. The pure tzedakah is to give to people who are impoverished, right? So a person shouldn't say, what he means is like we learned earlier, this should be of lower priority than giving to people who are poor. Yes, you should give to this too, but it's not the same thing as actual tzedakah.
He meant darkei shalom.
Yeah.
That's the mitzvah, maybe.
Right. Or like I said, we'll give them to the March of Dimes. So it's a mitzvah to give, but a lower priority than tzedakah itself. Okay, we'll stop here for tonight.